My abuser got introduced to my kids. Soon after, I discovered a hidden camera in the present she gave them. That finally gave me the chance to get her sent to jail. My mom died in childbirth and my dad raised me. His sister lived with us and treated me as her own personal servant as soon as I was old enough to hold a broom. As I got older, she also took advantage of me, and when I told my dad, he never believed me. Suffice to say, I moved out when I was 16 and made a new life for myself. I have been in low contact with him for years now, and live across the country with my 2 children. My dad called me up about 2 months ago, and asked if he could finally meet his grandchildren. I told him I would be willing as long as we made the agreement his sister wasn't allowed to be there. So I had my lawyer draw up a simple contract that stated if my aunt showed up at any time during our visit, and he didn't kick her out, he would never see me or my children ever again. He happily signed it, and I started making plans to fly my family down for the visit. Before we left, I showed my kids a picture of my aunt, and explained to them that if they were approached by this woman, they were to leave and immediately contact me, that she hurt me when I was younger and she is not allowed around them. When we arrived, everything seemed to go well. My dad had gifts for my kids and it was nice to see him again. A few hours in, he asked if I could go to the grocery store to pick up some things he forgot for dinner. About 20 minutes later, I was in the store, and I got a text from my eldest, telling me that the woman from the picture was at the house. I left the grocery cart in the aisle and beelined it back to the house. When I got there, I saw my aunt in the living room, holding my youngest hand. I asked what the hell she was doing here and demanded to know where my dad was. She told me to calm down and that he was taking his nap after she offered to watch the kids. I asked my kids if anything happened, and they said no. I told them to run upstairs and grab their bags as we were heading home. My aunt told me I was being dramatic and still hadn't changed after all these years, that I was still the uptight little boy afraid of everyone and everything. I ignored her and went to my dad's room to wake him up. I asked why the hell he would not only allow my aunt into the home, but watch the kids while he slept when I specifically said I didn't want to see her. He acted confused, saying he didn't know I was actually serious about the contract he signed, as why wouldn't I want to see family? I called him a clueless Jack A, who hadn't changed at all. I told him once again that his sister did inappropriate things to me for years, and he never cared. Now he was willing to let it happen to his grandchildren? No way in hell would I ever be coming back, and I hope he memorized the kids' faces because he will never see them again either. I went upstairs and packed what little I had taken out of my suitcase, then called for an Uber. While waiting, my aunt and dad both argued with me about leaving, and my aunt grabbed my kid's hand, asking them if they wanted to stay with their auntie. I grabbed her hand and twisted it, digging my nails in, then told her to never touch my child again or she wouldn't have a hand anymore. My kids and I got in our Uber and left. My dad has tried calling me multiple times, but I blocked both him and my aunt from both my children and I's socials. A few days after we got home, I was tucking one of my kids into bed, when I noticed he was holding a new teddy bear. I asked him where he had gotten it, and he said Grandpa gave it to him. I got a really sick feeling and asked if I could have the teddy bear for a bit. I started squishing it, and felt that its head was practically solid, so I ripped into it, only to find a camera inside. I was disgusted and angry. I immediately called the police in my dad's area, and told them I believed my aunt and dad gave my child a teddy bear with a camera in it to watch him. I mentioned my aunt had a history of doing inappropriate acts to children, and they would look into it, and I needed to turn the bear into my local police station. A few days later, my dad called, furious, asking why the police were talking to him and my aunt. I asked if he had given my son a teddy bear, and he admitted to it. I told him there was a camera inside of it. Did he still want to admit he gave my son the bear? He told me it wasn't exactly from him, but there must have been a mistake of some kind. I told him the only mistake was me ever trusting him again, and now I was going to make it my mission to get both him and my aunt locked up. The police contacted me later, saying that they checked the footage from the bear, and my idiot aunt actually recorded herself turning the bear on for the first time, to test it, and outright admitted she couldn't wait to give it to her nephew. The police also found the store the bear was bought from, and they had video proof my aunt purchased it. I told them I wanted to press as many charges as possible and they arrested her and my dad, as he was complacent. Afterward, they searched my aunt's house, and found some very disturbing videos on her laptop. She will be going away for a very long time. I thought everything would be over with, but now I'm getting phone calls from my extended family, calling me an AH for getting my dad and aunt arrested. I asked if they knew why, and they said they didn't, but there was no good enough reason to turn on family like that. I just hung up and blocked them. I do not plan on telling a bunch of people I don't even affiliate with anymore any of my business. If they truly care, they'll find out on their own once my aunt has been sentenced. I didn't tell either of my kids what had happened with the bear. All they know is that they won't be seeing their grandpa again.